A local terrorism expert says it is really too early to tell if today's tragedy was an act of terror. Bob Jones is live on 5 with this part of the story. And Bob, an expert you talked to believes the crash will definitely escalate tensions in a very fragile part of the world.
Well, I spent some time today talking with Dr. Stephen Hook. He's a political science professor at Kent State University, and he is also an expert on terrorism. When he heard about the Malaysian Airlines tragedy today, his first reaction was horror, and he wondered, can things get any worse in the Ukraine? He says we need to first understand what really happened. Was this terrorism? Was there an explosion on the aircraft? Or was it shot down by a ground-to-air missile, as some news agencies are reporting tonight? If that is the case, Dr. Hook believes it may turn out to be an accidental shoot-down. He says he doesn't see the political message terrorists would be trying to send by downing a passenger jet from Amsterdam to Kuala Lumpur.
My guess right now is it wouldn't be a deliberate attack on the passengers in that plane, but instead one of many strikes from the ground to air missile attacks, which are happening every day in Ukraine. And sometimes they don't know exactly what their target is.
Dr. Hook, who has written a book on U.S. foreign policy, pointed out that the U.S. just recently announced sanctions against Russia, but he believes today's tragedy is more likely to push the U.S. away from and not towards involvement in the Civil War. However, he added the plane crash is not going to ease tensions from U.S. policymakers. Live on 5 in Akron, I'm Bob Jones.
All right, thank you very much, Bob. And if this plane was indeed shot down, it would be the fourth commercial airliner to suffer that fate. In April of 1978, Korean Airlines Flight 902 was diverted during its trip from Paris to Seoul. It strayed into Soviet airspace and was fired upon by an interceptor aircraft. 2 people died. In September of 1983, another Korean Airlines plane, Flight 007, was shot by a Soviet air-to-air missile after straying into Soviet airspace. All 269 people on board died. In July of 1988, Iran Air Flight 655 was shot down by a surface-to-air missile fired by an American naval vessel. All 290 people on board died.